Hey TWR, Coach Mark here. I want to just take a few minutes of your time to go over kettlebell swing and a few variations of that. I want to briefly touch on the American kettlebell swing, the Russian, and the single arm. Those are the three variations that we use the most in our workouts. So I want to talk about the technique, the mechanics of the movements, and how to properly execute. Hopefully this will help with not only your at-home workouts, but once we're finally able to get back into our gym community and work out together, so we all are executing properly and safely and getting better and better each time, okay? So I will perform most of the movements facing sideways so that you can see mechanically how everything should move, but I will turn and give you some other angles so that you can see what's going on. I'm going to start with a 5-pound kettlebell. That way I can move slowly and methodically through these movements to break them down, and then I'll get a heavier kettlebell at the end and just go through through the movements at a faster pace so you can see it all put together. Okay. So first of all, you want to take a hip width or slightly wider stance. You want to have a nice strong base for that kettlebell, especially when you've got a much heavier one that you've got to swing several times. You've got to be able to brace and receive that kettlebell. And if you're standing too narrow, you're not going to be as stable as having a nice wide base, okay? So hip width or slightly wider stance, all right? When we address the kettlebell, it's going to be slightly out in front of us so that we can do what we call hiking the football or hiking the kettlebell. This allows us in one fluid swing and motion to get enough momentum going to execute that first rep right out of the gate versus trying to pop it a few times off your hips and then get it moving, all right? Which I know some folks will do in a workout, and that's costing you time and costing you reps. Whereas if it's out front of you a little bit further and you can get a nice big swing and momentum right out of the gate, you've already got one rep going up overhead, okay? So as we address it, swing back, your hips are going to move slightly back and down, okay? We're not squatting. A lot of folks tend to, that I've seen over the years as I've coached, want to squat this movement and then drive upward with the kettlebell, all right? We're sitting back slightly. Your hips should never go below your knees, all right? At the same time, the parts of the kettlebell, right, they're the bell, the horns, and the handle. That the handle and or the horns should never pass below the knees. So it should never be a squat movement where you're coming up here like this. It should be a hinge movement where our hips are pushing back, all right? Same thing I tell you guys with the power clean when you catch it, to close that car door, all right? Pretend you got an armful of groceries and that car door is still left open. You got to close that car door. Same thing with the kettlebell swing, all right? We're going to close that car door, all right? So hips are going to go down and back slightly, all right? We're going to maintain that lumbar here, all right? My knees are going to stay in line with my toes. So not coming forward, or I'm not going to be stiff-legged, all right? Stiff hamstrings. We want knees in line with toes, all right? From here, my hips and my legs are going to extend rapidly, all right? Slow, slow, slow. Boom. Rapidly, all right? Violent hip extension, all right? And we're going to travel that kettlebell out in front of us. Arms will stay straight. Arms are going to bring the kettlebell over the middle of the foot, so over that midline, nice and straight. No unicorns out here. I know some of you like to stop right out here in front of the forehead, making that nice unicorn horn. We want nice and overhead, all right, locked out. As the kettlebell starts to come back, we're going to bring those hips back again as the kettlebell descends so we can receive it and get ready for that next rep, okay? Violent extension, kettlebell comes overhead, all right? I've told my zombie crew this in the morning, when you're swinging, if you're getting nervous that kettlebell is gonna hit you in the butt, all right, or in the butthole, you're doing it properly. It means the wrists are breaking where they're supposed to on the inside of your thighs, and that kettlebell is traveling minimally behind you. We're not chasing that kettlebell way back here with our back and with our arms, all right? We're staying nice and upright, chest is nice and proud, and that the forearms break just enough to allow the kettlebell to come behind us so that we can, boom, drive violently and push that kettlebell away. And when I say proud chest, I should be able to see the logo on your shirt at all times. So if you're swinging and you're in the bottom position, you can still see my logo, all right? No logo. Logo, no logo, all right? Stay proud, keep your chest up. All right, so all of those mechanics are the same for the American and the Russian, except with the Russian swing, we don't go all the way up. We go to eye level, okay? So all the way overhead, American, Russian, okay? All the mechanics here, all right, the receiving, hips down and back, my knees in line with my toes, staying nice and proud, all the same for both variations, just the follow through is gonna get me here for American, here for Russian, all right? Now, single arm. Single arm we don't do as often, but we do see it come up. All right, so let's talk about single arm. We're still gonna hike that kettlebell like we did before, except now we're using one arm, all right? If you're doing multiple reps, well, either way, whether you're switching each rep or doing multiple reps with one hand, one thing I want you to think about is what I call thumb to bum, all right? So as the kettlebell comes in, there should be a slight rotation where your thumb starts to turn toward your butt crack, toward your butthole, okay? And then as you come back out, you'll bring it back up naturally, okay? But when it comes down, you want a little rotation in there because naturally the body is gonna torque. We're working the back a little bit differently, the core a little bit differently, because we're not square the entire time. We're having to compensate. The free hand will stay off, the thumb will turn towards the bum, we'll still fire off the hips, just like we talked about with the other two variations. We're gonna violently extend, kettlebell's gonna come up to eye level, come back down. So multiple reps with one arm, thumb to bum, coming up. The switch is where it gets tricky, right? I know some folks like to keep that palm facing down and try and come over top with the other palm and switch quickly, almost like a little toss to yourself, all right? This can get tricky / dangerous in the middle of a workout when you've got a heavy kettlebell and you've got other athletes around you and you aren't quite quick enough to do the switch. Maybe your hands are sweaty, you don't have enough chalk on, mom's spaghetti. You come up, miss. Now you've got a 53-pound broken toe, or somebody else has gotten injured, or they've jumped out of the way and you've stopped their workout because you were not quick enough to make that switch. The safe alternative is to come from thumb to bum, neutral position with the palm, all right? So kettlebell is neutral. Other hand is free to come in here, make the switch safely, here, all right? Makes things a little bit safer and a little bit easier and a little bit quicker, all right? You're not having to worry about trying to get one hand in while the other hand gets out. It's here, all right? A lot safer, okay? So I'll do a few American kettlebell swings with a heavier one. I'll go right into Russian, and then I'll do a few single arms so you can see it, all right? I'll do it from the side, do it from the front. We'll call it a day, okay? So set up, hip width, all right? Swing, overhead, 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 out, 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 switch, 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 okay? And from the front, and there you have it. I hope you learned something. I appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing everybody back in the gym once all this craziness is over. All right, have a good one.